Silly season is upon us as all kinds of absurd rumors do the rounds without anything materializing. The only thing that gives hope to these rumors are the 1% of crazy deals that do end up happening out of the blue. The latest of these is surrounding the future of Donovan Mitchell, and it's not just silly rumors, there's something up for sure. Let's take a closer look. First up, Mitchell snaps on Twitter. One of the few good things about social media is that there's increased interaction between players, fans, and media outlets. It's also unfiltered and gives the opportunity to the players to respond in a more open manner than before. Some players have been using it recently to quash the sensationalist headlines from different news outlets. Donovan Mitchell did the same as he quoted a tweet by the handle ClintoPete that talked about how Mitchell had aired a call from Quin Snyder. Apparently the tweet was on good authority, considering Spence Checketts has some serious contacts within the Utah outfit. But Mitchell quoted the tweet saying, "I choose to leave a lot of what y'all say alone, but y'all gotta stop blatantly lying on my name. God bless." There's no doubt that even the biggest NBA stars can get a little sick of such baseless accusations, and Mitchell even replied to a comment on his tweet agreeing that it was a bizarre claim in the first place. We're not saying that it's definitely a lie, but how can you possibly dispute it when he's himself coming out and denying that this happened, especially when Quin Snyder could also say the same, but he hasn't, and that indicates that Spence Checketts might just be waffling. But why is it such a big deal? Now, the backstory. If you're a little confused about why Mitchell allegedly not taking Snyder's call is such a big deal, we'll fill you in. Quin Snyder gave in his resignation quite abruptly, and it was a surprising moment for the Utah Jazz. What you need to understand is that things are pretty bad at the Utah franchise. There's a lot of friction between their top two players, Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and both of them have been linked with moves away. The sudden resignation of Snyder indicates that there's a lot of power struggle behind the scenes, and in the face of uncertainty, there's only one thing for sure, that one of Mitchell and Gobert will definitely be on their way out of the Jazz side. Despite Checketts' claims, there's a reason to believe that Mitchell's team is selling the perception that he's unhappy with the coach's abrupt resignation, but that doesn't clear up whether that indicates his intentions of securing a trade away from Utah, or if that shows that he wants to bring in a coach of his own liking. On the other hand, Gobert's been playing his cards well, surprisingly. He even tweeted about how he was grateful for the time he spent with Snyder, unlike Mitchell, who hasn't said anything about his coach's departure. And that seems to bring up the question, what does Mitchell want? Next, a possible trade? It's rumored at this point, but some analysts believe that Mitchell's time with the Jazz is up, and he'll be looking to secure a trade to another side. Initially, it was believed that Utah will look to move Gobert on instead of Mitchell, but after these recent developments, it seems that Gobert might end up staying. It's very unlikely to see the Jazz losing both of their top players in the same window, and it wouldn't exactly be advised either. But even at this point, these are only speculations, and a new coach will be instrumental in deciding who goes and who stays. That hasn't stopped some rumors from emerging, and if the latest news is to be believed, the likes of the Miami Heat, New York Knicks, and even the Cavaliers are interested in trading for Mitchell. A move to the Heat might be super tempting, as he'll finally get the chance to challenge for the title. Other destinations could also be interesting, as Mitchell can get to be the main character who drives the franchise to a potential success. But what's stopping him from doing exactly that at Utah? According to insiders, the Jazz has no intentions of trading Mitchell and will rebuff any potential inquiries about him. Does that mean he could stay and influence the decision of who Utah brings in as a coach? Now, Mitchell's potential influence. If that's true and Mitchell is set to stay with the Jazz, then maybe Spence Checketts was actually telling the truth. After all, his sources are legit because he's worked with the Jazz media team for a long time. Now, obviously, it's not like Mitchell couldn't have said his goodbyes in a normal way, but it definitely indicates that he had a hand in it, or at least he's happy with Snyder's departure. There are reports linking Mitchell's former assistant coach in Utah and close buddy Johnny Bryant of the Knicks to the vacant head coach position at Utah Jazz. Now, there's a very little chance that Danny Ainge looks to appoint someone with little to no head coaching experience, but that could change if Mitchell is pushing for the deal. They don't want their star player to be unhappy, do they? Especially if they've already rebuffed many trade offers for him. A coaching source at the Knicks confirmed that the hierarchy wouldn't mind if Bryant jumps ship and joins the Utah Jazz. Either way, any potential deal is far from being confirmed, but if it does get done, we know exactly who is behind the move and will confirm that Mitchell is set to stay. Now, in other news, Rudy Gobert to the Bulls? While the Utah management has confirmed their desire of keeping a hold of Donovan Mitchell, it pretty much means that Rudy Gobert will be on his way out. The former Defensive Player of the Year is being linked with many potential trades, with the Chicago Bulls leading the race. It's a pretty attractive proposition for Gobert, as he could secure a move to a fairly decent team with good players that could potentially make them into challengers. Even from the perspective of the Jazz, it seems like a no-brainer. The Bulls have decent players to trade, and if they can land one of Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, or even DeMar DeRozan, it'd be a trade to remember. Although realistically speaking, chances are that they trade Nikola Vucevic or even Patrick Williams. Williams. Those might not be big names, but they'd fit right in for Utah. Vucevic is an ideal offensive partner for Mitchell, while Williams is someone Utah has looked at in the past as well. But the Bulls aren't the only team in the race for the Frenchman. The Raptors, Hawks, and even the Mavericks are interested in a possible trade. Next, the Celtics lead the NBA Finals after Game 3. After a closely fought Game 2 that brought the series level, the Warriors fell to the Celtics in Game 3 after a dominant performance from the Boston side. The Celtics are known for maximizing their home advantage. While they've got a decent record away from home in the postseason, this year the Celtics finally managed to do what they're known for, using the energy from their support to win. It was a superb display from the home side, as they started off pretty well. Soon, though, they were pegged back by the Warriors, who mounted a lot of pressure in the third quarter. Usually, the Celtics would have folded under that kind of pressure, but they hung on and saw off the pressure to register a superb win to take the advantage in the series. Steph Curry was the architect of everything good for the Celtics, as he contributed with 15 points in their 33-25 resurgence in the third quarter, and he finished with a game-high 31 points. There were some important contributions from the likes of Thompson and Wiggins, but ultimately they weren't enough. For Boston, Brown led the way with 27 points, with Tatum and Smart putting in some big shifts too. Lastly, Steph's injury scare. It wasn't just a terrible night for the Warriors because they lost. It actually got worse towards the end of the game when their star player Steph Curry went down holding his leg. It looked pretty serious on replay as Al Horford rolled into his leg on a loose ball. While Kerr alleviated any potential concerns over his injury, Curry says that he's in pain but will be alright for Game 4. Of course, there's going to be a lot of hoping and praying that he's fit for the next one, as a loss in Game 4 could be the final nail in the coffin for the Warriors, and they really need to level the series. Game 4 is set to be on Friday in Boston, and as of now, Curry faces a race against time to be fit for it. Although if he's not 100%, there's a chance that the Warriors don't risk him because of Thompson's decent performance. It seems that Klay might finally be getting back in form, and that would be a very clutch time to arrive. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think it's the right decision by the Utah Jazz to keep Donovan Mitchell? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.